Welcome to the Arsenal Show. We are live and it's the Arsenal versus Southampton preview. I'm joined by my co-host Steve K. How you doing, Steve?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Cheers. Thank you.
And my other co-host Jerome Marks. How you doing, Jerome?
Yeah, fine, thank you.
What's your feelings on today's game then? Let's start with you, Steve. What are you thinking about today's game?
Yeah, it should be, on paper it should be an easy win. It never works out that way. But yeah, I mean, I'm expecting 3 points. I'm expecting a decent win. Be looking, forward to seeing what type of team he picks out today. Mm-hmm. We're going to have to play well. Last few games we haven't been at our best, but certainly not the way we've been playing when we went on the 10-11 game unbeaten run. Mm-hmm. So I'll be looking to get 3 points and get back to winning ways again.
All right, and Jerome, what's your thoughts on today's game?
I'm not as optimistic as Steve. I think depending on who plays up front, we could be in for another one of those sort of maybe frustrating afternoons, perhaps, where you're watching the game and your blood pressure's rising a little bit and you're getting frustrated.
Every time Arsenal playing it.
Yeah. And I've just noticed a couple of Southampton's last couple of games. They haven't done terribly. Mm-hmm. They've got off plenty of shots as well, much more than us. But that's pretty much every team in the league, really. So yeah, I don't know. It depends what team. It depends who plays up front. Because obviously, it doesn't look like Aubameyang's going to play.
I heard that as well. The team news that is come out is that Smith Rowe is still struggling and will be assessed today. Leno's out and Kolasinac is out. It looks like Gabriel Martinelli is fit after there was a bit of a worry last time when he came off. But I did see a bit about someone say that Aubameyang wasn't starting and Lacazette would be starting. Where are we hearing that from?
Yeah, a couple of well-respected journalists have put that out, saying he didn't train yesterday, and that he won't be playing. So don't be surprised if he's not playing today, basically. And
no talk of an injury. I watched the press conference yesterday, and there was no noises going about that anyone was injured. So yeah, that would be very, very interesting to see. All right. Off the back of that, what would your predicted lineup be then, Steve?
Well, what he'll pick and what I pick, I know it's going to be totally different. So, but I predict it to be Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, Gabriel, White, Tierney. In the middle of the park, I'll expect it to be probably Partey and probably Xhaka, and with Odegaard playing in front, and then it depends who's fit and who ain't fit, doesn't it? And if he's going, Saka will play. That's for definite. It sounds like Lacazette will play, and probably Martinelli. But that's what I think he'll pick. My team wouldn't be that, but we'll just have to wait and see.
What changes would you have made other than that?
I wouldn't play Thomas Partey. He's done nothing this season, and I think if he was any other player, everybody should be calling. I think everybody's calling for him.
To be fair, I think. I mean, Thomas Partey's been through the mill this week. I think everyone who has had their opportunity to say that he's been poor since he's been here or inconsistent has done, and even himself, he's come out and called and said that he's been a 4 out of 10 signing so far. So it's not gone unnoticed.
No, he's not. He's not telling me what he come out with the other day when he says a 4. I wasn't like, whoa. I've noticed that last season, mate, that you was a 4, and this season, and three games into when you first come to Arsenal. So all what the journalists and what people coming out on Twitter and what everybody else has been saying, this is something that I've been telling people from last season, that he's not the same player. So, you know, they just get jumped on the bandwagon there. But I wouldn't play him. I would play Xhaka, and I certainly wouldn't play Lacazette. I just think I just don't know why he's there. I just can't see the point. What would he be there for? What would he be there to score goals? Would he be there to make goals? You know, he can't even run. You know, he'd do 3 or 4 runs to get back into the midfield, and people say he's worked hard. We've been sort of, you know, guilty of saying that. But at the end of the day, the guy has done nothing. So why he would play, I don't know. I think we're better off playing with like a false 9 rather than a striker. I think our strikers are that bad at the moment. I would have brought Pepe in to play on the left with Saka in the right, and then play false 9, whether it be Odegaard or whether it be Smith Rowe, just like what Man City do. You know, when they play like the 3 cultured players who can come up with the ball every now and then. With Pepe, say if it was Smith Rowe, and say if it was Saka, I'd use them as our front 3. Because I just think Lacazette and I think Aubameyang's just a pointless exercise. I mean, and the thing is, like, you know, I like to give players a chance, you know, but I think Partey and Lacazette and Aubameyang have now had their amount of games where we can say, no, you've got to come out now. If not, you're just not doing it.
All right. Jerome, what would your predicted lineup be then?
I think he'll stick with the same defence that played at Everton. I don't think he'll make any changes to defence. I think Tierney will keep his place.
Yeah.
Midfield, although you could certainly make a case for Partey not to play, I still think he'll play him. I think he'll play Partey and Xhaka. I think he's got to bring Smith Rowe back if he's fit. So I think he'll play from the left. I think Saka will play from the right, and I think Odegaard will play. And it just depends who plays up front, whether he picks Lacazette, who I hope he doesn't pick. I suppose he's got 3 options. He's got Lacazette, Martinelli, or Nketiah. They're the 3 options. And for me, out of all of those, I would prefer to see Martinelli play. But whether he picks that or not, I'm not entirely sure.
And any other change you'd have made other than that, apart from that predicted lineup?
No, not really. Not really. I don't think we're in the position to be making too many changes. You could argue Lokonga maybe can come into the middle for someone, perhaps. You could argue You could always argue about Pepe can come in. But other than that, I think it'll be very similar to the team that played at Everton.
All right. So, who would your key player be, Jerome?
God, tough one. My key player, maybe the striker, whoever plays up front. Because if Aubameyang doesn't play, then there's going to be a lot of focus on the striker. So I'd go for the. I always like naming a key player who I don't give the name. It's sort of whoever's going to play in that position.
Yeah, we call that cheating.
Cheating.
That's
loophole. It's a loophole. Loophole more than cheating. Bending the rules, Kieran.
Yeah. Just.
I'll go for Martinelli. That's what I'll go for.
All right, you go for Martinelli. Steve, who would you have as your key player?
For me, it's a bit of a no-brainer, considering his last 2-3 performances for Arsenal, and that's Martin Odegaard. Because he's the one who seems to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. He's the one who seems to be coming up with the goals recently. He's the one who seems to be on form. He seems to be, become our best player at the moment. He seems to be the one that when Lacazette or Aubameyang or when they're not doing it, he's the one that's getting in the box. He's the one that's scoring the goals. A bit similar to a Frank Lampard. That's that type of player where he could make, where he could score, where he could do the lot. He could grab the ball. He could take the game, and I think with the state of their forwards at the moment, and it may well do come down to Martin again to done like he has done pretty much over the last 3 games, is to just grab that ball, take that game, and go and win us the match, whether it's with a goal or whether it's with an assist. So, yeah, I'll be looking at Martin Odegaard having another really good game like he has done in the last 3-4 games.
All right. And what's your score prediction, Steve?
I'm going to go 2-0. 2-0.
2-0. 2-0.
Yeah. If we get beat by Southampton, then I don't know.
The white handkerchiefs will come out.
Yeah.
The pitchforks and lanterns will come out, mate. Don't worry about white handkerchiefs. Jerome, what's your score prediction?
Yeah, I'll go for 1-0. Yeah, that'll be my prediction. 1-0 Martinelli.
Martinelli to score the goal for Jerome. All right.
It's one of those though. It's more in hope than expectation.
Are you genuinely worried about today's game?
Yeah, definitely. We played Norwich. The worst team in the league a few weeks ago, and we only scraped past them 1-0. We're not really battering teams, and
I keep hearing this Arsenal but the game against Norwich, was that not the game where we had about 35 shots on goal, like 15 on target, and they scored a goal early doors. The goal was disallowed, and we didn't score until like the 60th. But that's what Arsenal seem to do. They seem to go in their shell when something goes against them. I think there was another game where we scored an early goal and it got disallowed. Maybe. And I said, I hope to God they don't. I think it's when I did the watch along. I said, I hope to God they don't just go within themselves and fail and struggle to score until later on in the game. And they did exactly the same thing. So I don't know whether it's just, for me, it just feels like this. It's just a confidence thing.
What do you think, Kieran? What do you think about today's game?
I think today's game's a good opportunity for them to get back on track. I don't think that anything prior to this, with regards to form, is anything too deep. I think we were hurt still massively from the Liverpool game, more than I think we thought. I think we thought we could just brush it off because Liverpool are so much better than us. But I think that the players wouldn't have seen it like that because they're professional footballers. So they would have seen it as a game where at that time, they were in their pomp, they were confident. So they felt they probably would have been able to get something out of Liverpool. Maybe not a win, but something. And to be battered the way they did in the end, although it was mistakes, individual mistakes mostly, it's dented them because we came back against Newcastle the following game and kind of first half was poor and then picked up in the second half. After that, it was the Man United game, a game where we would have gone into that thinking we can get points from this, even if though it's a main at Old Trafford. We would have fought 3 points, and we didn't. We dropped points there, and then there was the Everton game, which was just like from the start was all of the bad things combined together in all those other games in the Everton game. Still got that 1-0 lead, but it was that fear of losing the lead. Martin Odegaard said it the other day. I think we've got it's a mindset thing. I think we've got something where as soon as we get that lead, we don't want to lose it. And the players are saying it themselves. So when people are saying the players aren't playing for the manager or this and that, it's just a bit like you're just filling in the gaps.
Kieran, how much do you take into Arteta's interview last week after the game when he's come out on that pitch? The only reason why I'm bringing this up is because it's exactly what I said in the show. So I just want to bring it up again now because he actually come out and said it, and that's the fact that the offensive line, the forward line, just don't do what he tells them to do. And he's actually come out fuming, his eyes burning, saying these guys just do what I tell them. You know, so he must be. It must be that. It can only be. Do you know what I mean? It's got to be in it. We've all said it, not just.
He was fuming. He was fuming last week. He wasn't happy. He wasn't happy because he can see what's going wrong. He can see why it's happening, and there's nothing he can really do with regards to. It's got to be. It's on the players' onus to have the self-belief to then push on in the game. It's not about not taking in what the man. This is a confidence thing. This is a person can only tell you so much, tell you how good you are, push you over the line. You've then got to take that risk, and that's what the players have to do. But that is where the senior players need to then take hold of that.
I think that's what he meant. I think that's where he meant. Yeah, I think because that's why you used to see Ollie those last few games of his tenure. You could see the absolutely. The anger from coming out of the screen, in his face, as if to say, "Why are you not doing what I just told you? You're not doing it." And sometimes players have got to be taken into thing, and I think like it's a breath of fresh air. I think he should call people out more often on there because maybe.
Yeah. It's not. It was. I think it was that one was where he was fully targeted at the senior players, not backing up the younger players, which I think he said it's for the senior players to something, and the younger players will follow. Which is and if you look at the 4 older players that we've had on that pitch at any point in this last however many games, they've not been good. They've not been good. So it's up to them to now push on. And the fact that that's a massive thing. If Aubameyang's not injured, for me that's pretty much him done. And he'll only be coming in games. So I don't know how you come back from this. It's if he's not injured and he's just been dropped, that's a big shout. And I don't see how you come back from it.
I think there must be something going on in training then, because like if you've been dropped last week and then in training this week you'd be running your nuts off, wouldn't you? You'd be really working hard for today. But to be like, if he isn't in the team today, if he isn't in the squad, then as you say, it's pretty damning.
It is. It certainly is. All right, that is all we have time for. Thank you for joining us today, Steve.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
And thank you for joining us, Jerome.
Yeah, of course. Cheers.
So Steve's gone for a 2-0 victory and Jerome has gone for a 1-0. Right now, I'll take either of them. Just 3 points for me. I'd like to see a good performance, but it's important for me to get the 3 points and get back on track, start building some momentum again. All right, people. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Peace out. Stay safe and wash your hands.